that violent encounter at Nevada High School where an officer shot a student threatening classmates with a knife. That teen is now in critical condition. His father's speaking out. And ABC's Matt Gutman is in Reno with the story. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, George. That father is saying the officer should not have pulled the trigger. He says his son may lose a lung, may suffer brain damage. That, as we're learning this morning, that the officer who pulled his gun had multiple non-lethal options at his disposal.
Responding to Hug High School for an officer-involved shooting with one student down.
This morning, mounting scrutiny of this school police officer's shooting of a knife-wielding teen.
Bro, he just shot the kid.
The 14-year-old's family is saying he wasn't a lone wolf attacker.
This was clearly a situation where you had a very mentally unhinged student attempting to keep people away from him by swinging knives in the air.
Lawyer David Houston tells ABC News the boy is a troubled child with special needs, crying out for help.
If that's worthy of execution, then I guess I am standing on a different platform than those people that think it appropriate to shoot a child.
His father posting on Facebook that his son brought the knives to school in order to defend himself against a gang of bullies. And while we're not showing his face, in the video his mouth and nose seem to be bloodied. As some students film, he slashes at the air, lunging at others. Seconds later, that officer arrives. He fires that single shot.
All units, BDW, was shots fired with a student down at Hug High School.
That officer then renders first aid. The boy is now in the hospital in critical condition, and the officer on routine paid administrative leave. On Thursday, the school superintendent commended the response of emergency staff and that officer.
Each school has an emergency medical response team trained to react in a split second. Yesterday at Hug High School, both of those plans worked flawlessly.
But the school district police chief offering a more qualified response.
Please remember that these accounts don't tell the complete story. This is an ongoing investigation, and as such, we will not be able to release any details.
Now, Reno PD tells me there's no hard and fast rule about the use of lethal force, only that it be proportional to the threat, and that's what they're going to be investigating here. Now, yesterday we spoke to some students who said their parents were outraged, asking what if that officer's bullet had missed and hit another child? George.
One of the big questions. Okay, Matt Gutman, thanks very much. Let's talk to Dan Abrams about this right now. It's always so difficult to second-guess these decisions, split-second decisions by police officers, but as the father pointed out, other options were available.
Right, and anytime there is an officer-related shooting, there's going to be an investigation, and there's going to be a very serious one here. And the question's going to be exactly what else did this officer have? For example, a taser. If he did, why couldn't he have used the taser instead of firing his weapon? And I think that the point that Matt made there at the very end is going to be really relevant, which is it's not just going to be the family of this kid who are going to be asking these questions. It's going to be some of the families of other kids who were there. That could certainly end up leading to some sort of civil lawsuit down the road.
How relevant that this young man may have been bullied?
Well, look, now let's switch focus to the investigation of him, right? Kid swinging knife there. Number one, self-defense, right? Which is if he was bloodied and he'd been attacked and he's effectively responding, that could be a self-defense claim. But most importantly, if anyone was thinking about charging this kid, because, you know, he is waving a knife there, if he'd been bullied, I think that will very much weigh into the decision of prosecutors to decide whether to prosecute at all. If so, what to prosecuting him with. Because, look, if he was bullied and he had just come out of a fight, I don't care what you think about what he did, and it may have been the wrong way to handle it, but what a horribly sad situation that if this kid was bullied, that he responds this way, he ends up getting shot. You know, it's just so heartbreaking, all aspects of it. And I think that prosecutors and law enforcement will take that into consideration if that was the case.
And we're seeing some of that video right there. So many kids there with their phones. We're likely to see other pieces of video as well.
Right. And that'll be part of the investigation, right? Because they're going to want to see more than just this one to see how did this start? What led him to do that? And just as importantly, what led the police officer to take that shot?
A lot of layers to the story. Dan Abrams,
Yep.
Thanks very much.